Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Today we are taking on a dance that is just universally famous for its playful bounce, its sharp hip action, and honestly, its unmistakable energy. We're talking about the cha-cha. But hey, if you've ever actually tried it, you already know that trying to capture that energy, it can so quickly turn into a clumsy, kind of awkward guessing game on the dance floor. Well, we're looking at a fantastic guide by Vladislav Knight today, and is absolutely going to change that for you. We're transforming the cha-cha from a vague, just feel the music struggle into a highly confident, counted skill. So let's get moving.
Here's our roadmap for this masterclass. We're going to build this up block by block. First, we're decoding the cha-cha rhythm. Then we'll master the core footwork, run through some drills for perfect timing, tackle those common mistakes, and finally, look at practicing for success.
All right, Section 1, Decoding the Cha-Cha Rhythm. Let's strip away the intimidation of the dance's playful bounce and just turn it into basic math.
So, most cha-cha basics are tracked in a standard 4/4 time signature. You're typically just counting 1, 2, 3. So the crucial point is that the absolute magic of this dance happens across the quick, syncopated subdivision right at the very end of the measure, the 4 and 1. That little syncopated window, that is exactly where the actual cha-cha-cha sound and literally all the flavor of the dance lives.
What we are really listening for here is this incredible squeeze and release timing. But what does that actually look like physically? Well, it means you take a deliberate step, a clear weight transfer, and then boom, 2 quick, lively actions. By anchoring yourself to this counted structure, we are totally replacing that vague, frankly unhelpful idea of just feeling it with deliberate, precise musicality.
Now, what happens when you feel to nail the precise speed of that quick syncopated portion? It's a stark contrast. If you err on the side of rushing the quick part, you're going to look like a frantic, over-caffeinated squirrel out there. Not a great look. But if you do the exact opposite and stretch it out too much, it suddenly feels like a really slow, sluggish waltz instead of a dynamic cha-cha. It is all about mastering that exact speed contrast.
Okay, Section 2, Mastering Core Footwork. Now that we have the rhythm engine running, we really need to build the physical chassis with our footwork.
Let's walk through these simple, totally repeatable steps. It all begins with a forward or side step. That is followed immediately by a distinct weight transfer. And finally, you execute that signature 2-step cha-cha action. Now the guide points out a pretty brilliant tip for beginners right here. You should practice that third phase, the cha-cha portion, as a completely separate mini pattern. Seriously, isolate it until it's perfect, and then just plug it back into the full sequence.
And this brilliantly illustrates how to properly align your body. You absolutely must have clean weight changes, meaning you actually land and settle your body weight into the new stance, not just tap the floor. Your standing leg has got to be stable, and your moving foot should land slightly underneath you to really support your center of gravity. But above all, keep those steps incredibly compact on the quick parts. You really want to avoid big, sweeping strides if you're aiming for that crisp, precise rhythm.
Moving on to Section 3, Drills for Perfect Timing. This is our test drive phase, because drills are the true secret to bridging the gap between head knowledge and muscle memory.
Vladislav's guide outlines a really clear 3-phase chronological progression for your drills. In Phase 1, you just mark the rhythm in place. No turning, just tiny steps. It is absolutely crucial to master the timing right there in place before you ever try traveling across the dance floor. Once you've got that locked in, Phase 2, it lets you add forward, back, or side directions. And finally, Phase 3. This is where you practice changing direction while staying rigorously locked into that exact same beat structure.
There's a fantastic diagnostic cue here. If your hips feel like they're chasing your feet, you may be stepping too long. I highly recommend memorizing this. Think of it as your ultimate diagnostic tool for keeping your body transfers organized out there. If your body feels disconnected, it almost certainly means you're taking steps that are just way too big before the quick part. Keep it organized. Step, settle, and then execute the quick sequence.
Section 4, Avoiding Common Mistakes. Let's pivot and troubleshoot the potholes that make this dance look clumsy. We've got some very clear fixes for those classic beginner habits.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how it flips a common assumption. You might naturally think taking big, dramatic steps looks better, right? But overstepping actually causes late weight transfers. By completely contrasting that with compact movement, you maintain total control on those quick portions. Shrinking your steps is literally the secret sauce to amplifying the sharpness and speed of your dance.
Here is another massive sensory difference in your physical mechanics. Flat foot placement versus springy ankles. If your feet are landing flat with zero bounce,
The rhythm just feels incredibly heavy. You end up stomping around, and honestly, stomping instantly kills the rhythm. Instead, focus entirely on springy ankles. That springiness provides a super smooth transfer of weight and literally brings that playful, signature cha-cha bounce to life.
Let's briefly run through these common errors. First, if you're losing that too quick feel and your dance looks more like a slow walk, the fix is to revisit your counts and deliberately force those quick actions to be noticeably faster. And look at the second one, hip action mismatch. Listen, your hip movement is a structural part of the rhythm itself. It is not just a decorative afterthought. Make sure your hip emphasis aligns perfectly with when your weight actually transfers.
All right, Section 5, practicing for success, because knowing the moves means nothing if we don't know the road to mastery through sustainable practice.
Let's move on and see how this builds into an actionable practice routine. First, start slowly. You want to prioritize clean weight changes over speed. Speed will naturally come later. Next, use your phone to record a short clip of yourself from the side. Video feedback from a side angle is just an invaluable tool for accurately judging your foot placement. Practice in short sessions until it all becomes automatic, and always maintain a steady torso and posture.
As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a challenge. Will you keep guessing the rhythm, or are you ready to finally count your way to confidence? You've got the blueprint now. Take these fundamental building blocks straight to your next practice session. Focus on those counts, keep the steps compact, and go own the dance floor. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.